Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. Thank you all for joining me once again. I want to get right into this because I've been having problems finding conservative sites, conservative YouTube content creators, and conservative news sites addressing this issue. Now, allegedly, Trump posted an image of himself, I think on his Truth Social post, and he posted an image of himself as Jesus Christ, or at least suggesting that he was like a Christ figure. Okay. I'm going to read this article, but part of this article, but anyway, and when I started hearing about this is mostly from left-wing news sites. So whenever I come across a left-wing news site, I always get iffy. I don't automatically assume it's wrong, but I do, based on experiences in the past and what I've seen with a lot and have read from a lot of left-wing news sites and liberal news sites, is that they tend to exaggerate certain things. They tend to leave certain things out. So that's been my observation. It's been my experience. So I didn't take it as gospel right away. But then I thought to myself, what if this is right? Okay, we can't just reject everything that they're saying. Okay, now, before I get into this, let me just put this out front. I hear this term Trump supporter all the time. Are you a Trump supporter? Are you a this supporter? I don't support people necessarily as much as I support ideas. The only real person that I support is Jesus Christ, okay, and myself, okay, because I know me. I know what I'm about. And so that's it. I mean, you can argue I support my pastor, but I support mostly his worldviews and the vision that God gives him that's in line with the Bible or the Word of God. So I'm not so much into supporting people as much as I am in supporting their ideas or not supporting their ideas or their policies or their worldviews. That's what I look at, because I don't know Trump that much. I know some things about him based on what I've read, but I don't know enough about him to say whether I support him as a person or not. I don't know that. And most people, if they're honest with themselves, they can say the same thing. They can't. A lot of people say, I don't support Trump because he's a racist. Okay, where did you get the idea that he's a racist? See, it's stuff like that I hear that just makes me do like this. Where did you get the idea that he's a racist? And then you tell him, okay, you try to share information with them. Well, I don't believe he's a racist, and here's the reason why I don't believe he's a racist, X, Y, and Z, and they still walk around thinking he's a racist. That type of stuff, I mean, not supporting him, to me, that's not an accurate reason not to support him, because that concept of him being a racist is unfounded. It's really unfounded. The point is simply is I don't try to get into I'm a Trump supporter or not a Trump supporter. I look at policies, I look at worldviews, and look at things that I listen to things that they're saying and things that they're doing. And allegedly, he posted this. So let's get right into this article, and then I'm going to give you my opinion of this. So let's get right. By the way, I had to go to a Christian site to find this out because, like I said, none of the conservatives, I'm not saying that no conservatives, YouTube content creators haven't talked about it. This is relatively old. This is a few days old. So they may have talked about it. I just haven't found them. Okay. If you know of any that have talked about this that are conservative, let me know. Okay. But I had to go to a Christian news site or online news site, Christian Post, in order to find out about this. So let's get right into this article. It says, Christian leaders and influencers have voiced their disapproval after President Trump shared an AI-generated image on social media depicting himself as a Jesus-like figure, with some supporters of the current administration condemning the post as blasphemous. On Sunday, Trump shared an image on Truth Social, so I was right, showing him wearing a white robe with a red shawl, placing his right hand on the forehead of a man lying in a hospital bed. And I did see that, now that I remember, I did see this particular AI-generated image in passing. I cannot remember exactly where I saw it. It might have been on a TikTok video or on a reel on Facebook. I don't distinctly remember, but I do remember seeing this particular AI-generated post, okay? Anyway, the article goes on to say the image also included a nurse and a woman praying. The background featured an American flag, the Statue of Liberty, and other classic American symbols, along with several figures in the clouds above him, including a winged, three-horned figure descending from the heavens. I don't know what that meant. Maybe that's a symbol of Lucifer. Because like I said, let me say this too. When I saw this AI-generated image, it was quick, fast, and her, and I just, brushed right through it. I don't think I sat there and watched it for any extended period of time. Okay. Article goes on to say Trump, and I'm assuming that this three-horned figure descending from the heavens is Satan, and I guess Trump was supposed to be like he's trying to portray himself some kind of Christ figure that rebukes this satanic image. I don't know. Trump later deleted the post, telling reporters during a White House briefing Monday that he posted the image himself because he, quote, thought it was me as a doctor. Really? These are his words. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor and had to do with the Red Cross, the president said. There was a Red Cross worker there, which we support. However, many thought the post depicted Trump as a Christ-like figure. The following pages highlight reactions from Christian voices. So there are some people that did speak out against this. Here's one particular person on Instagram. Instagram post, Catholic author and speaker Matt Fraid, host of the, quote, host of the Pence with Aquinas podcast, urged Catholics to, quote, offer a rosary today for Donald Trump and all blasphemers. Wow. Let me see if there are any others. Let me read you guys one more. Michael Knowles, host of the Daily Wire podcast, quote, the Michael Knowles show, reacted during a Monday episode, described the post as an, quote, art meme that was intended to be kind of trolly. Okay. Knowles suggested the president share the image to signal that he is, quote, healing the country and is, quote, great for it, and noted that Trump may believe he has been supportive of Christians by pardoning pro-life activists convicted under the FACE Act and appointed U.S. Supreme Court justices who voted to overturn Roe v. Wade. But the post is sacrilegious. It just is. It's just inescapable. It's just a sacrilegious post, Knowles said. To put oneself in the position of Christ is just sacrilegious. That's all I'm going to read right there. I think we get the gist of what's been going on here. Here's the first thing first. If people have to debate about this, if you have to be like, okay, maybe he's doing this, maybe he's doing that, then it's wrong. If you have to debate about whether or not Trump portraying himself as some Christ figure, President Trump portraying himself as some Christ figure, is either or, maybe he's saying this, but he really meant that, then what he did was wrong from a biblical Christian perspective. Whatever reasonings he may have had, that was not the way to do it. That was not the way to do it. Now, all of us know, and everybody knows, that Trump does have an ego. Okay? He has an ego. And every person, to be quite frank with you, that's in the position of that's a president or a governor, they have to have some kind of ego. You have to have a strong ego to be in those positions anyway. You have to have a strong ego. Because if you have a weak ego, man, you will be a tool like nothing else, okay? But Trump, he's very boisterous with his ego, okay? Biden had the ego. Obama had the ego. Clinton had the ego. Bush, the two George Bushes had the egos. Ronald Reagan had an ego. All of them had egos, okay? They all had egos, but they demonstrated that egotistical mentality in different ways. Trump, his is a little bit more flamboyant and braggadocious, if that's a proper word. Yeah. But with this particular situation here, I totally disagree with this. Regardless of whatever Trump's motives were inwardly, I think this is in poor taste. I think it's badly done, and it's a good thing he deleted it. But it doesn't matter whether or not he deleted it or not. The post is out there. It's out there, okay? Now, clearly, he's not a Christ figure. He's not a Christ figure. He's not a Christ figure. Let me say that again. President Donald Trump is not a Christ figure. He's nowhere near it. And no president is a Christ figure, no, and they're nowhere near it. Unbeknownst and quiet as that may be kept among a lot of people who are Democrats, the same mentality was pushed upon Obama. During the Obama administration, man, they helmed him as the one. I think it was Oprah Winfrey helmed him as the one. There was a particular picture of him. I forget, I don't know if it was Time Magazine, where they had Obama standing up and they had a halo over his head like he was some kind of anointed Christ figure. Oh, yes, this was under Obama, too. Now, why is this? Why is the media portraying these presidents and these leaders, both Democrat and Republican, as some kind of savior? I'm not going to get to it in this video. You would have to watch that in my on my Christian channel, Bible Perspective, because I'm going to address that issue from a Christian spiritual perspective. That there's someone coming on the scene, and that's all I'm gonna say right there. But Donald Trump is far from a Christ figure, and I think by doing what he did, for whatever his motives were, because no one can really, let's be realistic. No one knows the real motives of any of these leaders. We don't. We can suspect we know the motives of Donald Trump. We can suspect we know the motives of Obama. We can suspect we know the motives of Biden. But motives come from within. And they do tend to manifest externally, but we still don't fully know, because sometimes a person can have motives on the inside and they may do the opposite of what their heart is telling them, because they know that if they do what their heart is telling them, it's going to cause problems. Sometimes their heart, i.e. motives, can be telling them to do one thing, right? And they know in their mind that this is not the right way to go. So they don't do it because they figure it's going to cause ruckus. It's going to destroy their self-image before the people, and they don't do it. How many of us have had things in our heart that we knew was wrong, but we didn't do it because we knew if we did it, we'd probably end up in jail? Let's keep it 100. We know we didn't always think the right things. We know that we didn't always feel the right things. We know that we wanted to unalive some of these people that dogged us out. We know, let's be real. Let's keep it 100. Our motives, our inner desires may have been to delete someone, but we didn't do it, okay, because we knew that had we did what our motives / desires / intentions had been, we'd be in jail without the bail. Okay, same principle. With Donald Trump, whatever his motives were, we don't know. Somebody could argue what he wants to be a Christ figure because he's talking about I'm the king. I'm going to be the king. Okay, you could argue that, but we don't fully know because we don't know what's going on in his mind and in his heart. We really don't fully know. All I'm going to say is that this post here, this AI generated post that he deleted of him being some kind of Christ figure, apparently, was in bad taste. Now, maybe perhaps he was doing this because he felt like, this situation with Iran and all of this, and he's feeling some kind of way. He's feeling real good, maybe, but we don't know. I'll just say it and I'll say it again. Whatever the motives were for doing this post, it was in this AI generated post, it was in bad taste. And should he offer an apology? Probably. Say, I apologize for the post or whatever. Probably. Will this hurt his base? I don't know. When I say base, I mean the MAGA crowd. Those that are just dedicated to him just for, because they love him, Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I will say this. I would prefer to have had, and I'll say this and end it on this. I would prefer to have Trump than Kamala Harris. Because she might not have tried to put herself as some Christ figure. That definitely wouldn't have been the case with her. Because she knew absolutely nothing hardly about politics. I'm not saying that she's not smart. But in terms of politics and being a strong leader, she totally lacked that. She had no charisma. She was not well spoken of. She did good in the debate. But I'm assuming that during that debate, she was already spoon-fed what to say and what not to say. So, but far as thinking on her own 2 feet, and being able to answer questions at the whim, at the drop of a whim. Someone comes to ask her a question, she's not able to answer the questions properly without giggling and all this other kind of stuff, shows that she had the inability to be a strong leader. And with that, she probably would not have been try to pose herself as some Christ figure, but she surely would have been, in my personal opinion, a bad leader, a very bad political leader, and we would be in a worse position we are in this country with her. Now, are we in the best position possible in our country right now? No. But let's be realistic. Let's keep it 100. What are we as Americans actually suffering from for the most? Think about it. Think about it. Are things much worse than they were under the Biden administration? Are they much worse? Or do we feel like it's much worse because of what the media is telling us it is? Okay, Trump is pushing the AI-generated phenomenon. Okay, I don't agree with that for the most part. I don't agree with that. The situation in Iran, I don't agree with the war in Iran. But is that really having a horrible effect on us as Americans today, right now? Is that really shifting everything? Because guess what? We still dealing with, in some instances, the high cost of living. But weren't we dealing with the high cost of living under the Biden administration? I mean, weren't we dealing with the high cost of living under the previous administration? It always comes down to having more money in your pocket and the prices going down. That's really what people want at the end of the day. They could care less to be honest with you, most people could care less whether Trump thinks he's a Christ figure or whatever. At the end of the day, most people want more money in their pockets, and I've said this before, and the prices to come down. So I ask that, regardless of this nonsense that he's doing that's in bad taste, are we much worse off as Americans right now, or if we're feeling like we are we feeling that way because we can see the bad effects, right? The bad policies, quote unquote bad policies, or we've been brainwashed and conditioned by the media sources that we listen to believe that. I believe it's the latter. We've been brainwashed and conditioned to believe that, oh my God, we're in a recession. Oh Lord, we're dying. Really? Really? Come on. No. I mean, no, people still spending money. People are still consumerists. Okay, I mean, no. That's mind control, in my opinion. We're being manipulated by the media sources that we watch to make us think that. Okay, to make us think that. Let me quote this, and I'm going to end it on this. Let me quote these words from a book written by socialist Bertrand Russell, page 62 of his book, Science and Society. And he says this. This is what he says. It is to be expected that advances in physiology and psychology will give governments much more control over individual mentality than they now have, even in totalitarian countries. Just follow me here for a moment. So that after pupils have left school, they shall be incapable throughout the rest of their lives of thinking or acting otherwise than as their schoolmasters would have wished. That could be a whole different video, right? Diet, injections, and injunctions will combine from a very early age to produce the sort of character and the sort of beliefs that the authorities consider desirable, and any serious criticism of the powers that be will become psychologically impossible. Now, here's the part I want to hone in on, the connected to what I'm talking about, the theme of what I'm saying in this video. Even if all are miserable, all will believe themselves happy. Why? Why would they believe themselves happy? Because the government will tell them that they are so. In other words, if the people are going to believe they're happy because who? The government says you good. Government says the numbers are this and you feel happy. The government says on the flip side of the same token, the government says, oh my God, oh, we're in a recession. Oh, World War III. Oh, me, oh my. You believe it. And what's going to happen? You won't be happy. You'll be miserable. Why? Because the government says so. Now, you may be asking, what's they got to do with the media sources? Because the government and the media sources are in bed with one another. They're in cahoots with one another. That's why. What's my point? My point simply is this. Regardless, once again, of what Trump's motives may be, what he did, I believe was distasteful. All the rest, I believe was distasteful, and he needs to straighten it up. Okay? But at the end of the day, we have to think independently. Hence the title of my YouTube channel, Independent Conservative. That's what I wanted to say about that. What do you guys think about this AI generated image? I mean, what do you think is going to damage the world or damage the country or what? What do you think? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. I'll see you again.